Good morning, friends. I'm so excited to read to you. La 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 la. And guess what? Here's my Abby. Will you look up so everyone can say hello? Uh-oh, she's looking out the window. Abs, will you look up? Nope, she's not going to do it. But she's listening to us. She's listening. And oh, there she is. She's looking over now. Can you see Abs? Oh, she's got a big, her hair looks a little woolly right now because she needs to go to the groomer and it's closed. So she's not going to go. Okay, this is what I'm reading today. One of my all-time favorite books. It's the same author who wrote Sylvester and the Magic Pebble. And we read that yesterday, and I thought I'd go ahead and read this today. This is called Brave Irene. Now look at Irene. She's walking through a snowstorm with a big package. Let's see what's going to happen. This is such a good book. We may have to do it in 2 readings because it's a little bit long, but not too long. If I can get through it, I will. Otherwise, I'll read half of it this morning and half of it tomorrow. Okay, guys, I hope you're all there. I miss seeing you. Okay, Brave Irene. You put clothing on that. If you're sewing clothing, it's called it's kind of like a mannequin. That's a tough word, but you can hang dresses on that and other clothing you're sewing. And there's Irene's mom. She's a seamstress. Do you see? She has a needle and there's the thread and she's working on this beautiful dress. This beautiful pink and green dress. That's going to be important to the story. Mrs. Bobbin, the dressmaker, was tired and had a bad headache, but she still managed to sew the last stitches in the gown she was making. Oh, it's the most beautiful dress in the whole world, said her daughter Irene. The Duchess will love it. It is nice, her mother admitted, but darling, it's for tonight's ball and I don't have the strength to bring it. I feel very sick. Okay, let's look a little bit more closely. There's Irene's mom. She's sewing this dress. And look at that. She kind of has a sad face. She's not feeling well. And there's Irene. And Irene's admiring the dress. She thinks it's beautiful. Oh, and this is a pot-bellied stove. And they've got some logs right there and a teapot, a tea kettle. And that is keeping them warm. So this dress needs to go to the Duchess. She has sewn it for a big party, and we're going to find out about that party. And Irene is going to help. Okay, let's go on. Poor Mama, said Irene. I can get it there. Oh, no, darling, I can't let you, said Mrs. Bobbin. Such a huge package, and it's such a long way to the palace. Besides, it's starting to snow. But I love snow, Irene insisted. She coaxed her mother into bed, covered her with 2 quilts, and added a blanket for her feet. Then she fixed her some of her lemon tea with honey and put more wood in the stove. With great care, Irene took the beautiful gown down from the dummy and packed it in a big box with plenty of tissue paper. Oh, dress warmly, dear, her mother called in a weak voice, and don't forget to button up. It's very cold out there and windy. Irene put on her fleece-lined boots, her red hat and muffler, her heavy coat, and her mittens. She kissed her mother's hot forehead 6 times, then once again made sure she was tucked in snugly and slipped out with the big box, shutting the door firmly behind her. So there she is. There's Irene bringing the hot lemon tea with honey to her mom, who's now in bed because she's not feeling well and she has quilts on. And there she is wrapping the dress in a box. Her mom looks sad. You see your mom? She looks very sad. She's worried about her daughter because she is going to take the box and the dress to the Duchess for a big ball, and it's starting to snow. And so Irene's going to have to go in the snow, dressed warmly, by herself. Oh, there she is, right there. It really was cold outside, very cold. The wind whirled the falling snow this way, that way, and into Irene's squinting face. She's squinting right there. She set out on the uphill path to Farmer Bennett's sheep pasture. By the time she got there, the snow was up to her ankles and the wind was worse. Whoosh! It hurried her along and made her stumble. Irene resented this. The box was problem enough. Easy does it, she said to the wind, leaning back hard against it. She's getting mad at the wind. Get away. Leave me alone. I have to take this box for my mother. Uh-oh. There she is, struggling with the box. Do you see the snow? By the middle of the pasture, the flakes were falling thicker. Now the wind drove Irene along so rudely she had to hop, skip, and go helter-skeltering over the knobby ground. Cold snow sifted into her boots and chilled her feet. She pushed out her lip and hurried on. This was a very important errand for her mother. When she reached Apple Road, the wind decided to put on a show. It ripped branches from the trees and flung them about, swept up and scattered the fallen snow, got in front of Irene to keep her from moving ahead. Irene turned around and pressed on backwards. Look at her, she's leaning into the wind. And you see the branches have fallen, and it's a bad snowstorm, a very bad snowstorm. Go home, the wind squalled. Irene, go home. I will do no such thing, she snapped. No such thing, you wicked wind. Go home, the wind yodeled. Go home, it shrieked, or else. For a short second, Irene wondered if she shouldn't heed the wind's warning. But no, the gown had to get to the Duchess. Look at her yelling at the wind. And the wind, go home, Irene, go home. The wind wrestled her for the package, walloped it, twisted it, shook it, snatched at it. But Irene wouldn't yield. It's my mother's work, she screamed. Then, all of a sudden, the box was wrenched from her mittened grasp and sent bumbling along in the snow. Irene went after it. There she is, yelling at the snow and the wind, particularly the wind. The wind is blowing so hard, and it took the box out of her hands, but Irene is going to go after the box. She pounced and took hold, but the ill-tempered wind ripped the box open. The ball gown flounced out and went waltzing through the powdered air with tissue paper attendants nearby. Oh, look at the tissue paper. Irene clung to the empty box and watched the beautiful gown disappear. Uh-oh, there goes the gown up in the snowy wind. How could anything so terribly wrong be allowed to happen? Tears froze on her lashes. Her dear mother's hard work all those days of measuring, cutting, pinning, stitching. For this? And the poor Duchess. Irene decided she would have to trudge on with just the box and explain everything in person. Irene wasn't giving up. There goes the gown, but Irene is coming behind it. She went shuffling through the snow. Would her mother understand, she wondered, that it was the wind's fault, not hers? Would the Duchess be angry? The wind was howling like a wild animal. Suddenly, Irene stepped in a hole and fell over with a twisted ankle. She blamed it on the wind. "Keep quiet," she said. "You've done enough damage. You've spoiled everything, everything." The wind swallowed up her words. So she fell and she's twisted her ankle and she looks very sad. And she looks like she might even be in pain. She sat in the snow in great pain, afraid she wouldn't be able to go on. But she managed to get to her feet and start moving. It hurt. Home, where she longed to be, where she and her mother could be warm together, was far behind. It's got to be closer to the palace, she thought. But where any place was in all this snow, she couldn't be sure. Irene was wondering, could she even find the palace? It was getting so deep and the snow was so thick. She plowed on, dragging furrows with her sore foot. The short winter day was almost done. It's getting dark. Am I still going the right way, she wondered. There was no one around to advise her. Whoever else there was in this snow-covered world was far, far away and safe indoors, even the animals in their burrows. She went plodding on. Uh-oh, look at how dark it's getting. That would be very scary if you were outside by yourself and it was getting dark, but she still has the box. She still has the box. Soon night took over. She knew in the dark that the muffled snow was still falling. She could feel it. She was cold and alone in the middle of nowhere. Irene was lost. She had to keep moving. She was hoping she'd come to a house, any house at all, and be taken in. She badly needed to be in someone's arms. The snow was above her knees now. She shoved her way through it, clutching the empty box. There she is, and it's getting very dark, and the snow is still blowing. She was asking how long a small person could keep this strength up when she realized it was getting lighter. There was a soft glow coming from somewhere below her. Do you see what that is down there? I think that's the palace right there. I think that's the palace where she needs to go. She waded toward the glow and soon was gazing down a long slope at a brightly lit mansion. It had to be the palace. I think it is. Let's see what happens. Irene pushed forward with all her strength, and then whoosh, thump! She plunged downward and was buried in the snow. Uh-oh, I see her hat and her hands and the box, but I don't see Irene. She had fallen off a little cliff. Only her hat and the box in her hands stuck out above the snow. Even if she could call for help, no one would hear her. Her body shook. Her teeth chattered. Why not just freeze to death, she thought, and let all these troubles end? Why not? She was already buried. I'm going to stop right here because things are going to change. And see Irene, she's now on top of the box going down the hill. Okay, I'm going to stop here, friends, and I'm going to pick this up tomorrow. So I hope you're listening. It's so much fun reading to you every day. And again, this is brave Irene, the daughter of the seamstress, and she's trudging through the snow with the dress her mother sewed for the Duchess. So we'll see what happens. And it ends really well. It ends really well. So hang on. I'll start it tomorrow. just where we left off. Here's Abs. I've put her to sleep. She listens to me, but if I start reading out loud, she starts snoring. She still has her bows in her hair. They're actually on her ears, her long floppy ears. Okay, friends, I'm so glad you joined me for story time. I have so much fun reading to you. I tried to find Mother Goose, and I haven't been able to find my copy of Mother Goose, but I know it's here. I know it's here because I read it to the children all the time. So, mwah, I love you. Join me tomorrow for Brave Irene. Okay, have a good day. Bye.